Good morning, everyone, and welcome to virtual worship with the Unitarian Universalist Church of Silver Spring. My name is Carolyn Savadkin, and this morning I am your worship associate. My pronouns are she and her. This morning, we are delighted to welcome the Reverend Ashley Burzcak back to UUCSS pulpit, where she will preach about ways to build peace as we remember the losses of war. Reverend Ashley is a longtime member of UUCSS who currently serves as a chaplain and with the UUs of Riderwood. We are also glad to have Carl Miller here today playing piano for a while Phyllis continues to heal from a broken finger. And Miyako Valeniova is our ASL interpreter today. Later on in the service, all of the volunteers who have made today's service possible will be shown on the screen, and I hope you'll share your thanks with them. I'd also like to welcome any guests or visitors in the congregation today. Mary Beth Lerner is our welcoming captain. Mary Beth is available to answer questions about our congregation, both for those here in the sanctuary and those attending on Zoom. Now it's time to greet our neighbors. I invite those joining us on Zoom to take a moment to turn your cameras on, and for people here in the sanctuary to turn and face the camera to your right, I guess it's my left, and wave in greeting across the platform divide. In a moment, we will join in singing There Is More Love Somewhere, our opening hymn. But first, I invite everyone on Zoom to greet one another in the chat, and for people here in person to greet your neighbor in the sanctuary, whether by waving, elbow bumping, but remembering to honor one another's need for social distancing. When the music starts, it's time to come back to your seats and sing. Want to come up here?
There is more love somewhere. There is more love somewhere. I'm gonna keep on till I find it. There is more love somewhere. More hope. There is more hope somewhere. There is more hope somewhere. I'm gonna keep on till I find it. There is more hope somewhere. More peace. There is more peace somewhere. There is more peace somewhere. I'm gonna keep on till I find it. There is more
Please join me in the words on the screen as we light our chalices together. May this light
Guide us in the ways of truth.
As we gather here for worship, we pledge ourselves to the endless search for truth, to the right of each to believe as mind, heart, and conscience dictate, to expect the responsibilities this freedom commands, and to implement our belief in the essential worth and dignity of every human being. May it be so.
I'm sure whether this week or other times, we have all experienced times when there was some bad or scary news. When bad and scary things happen, I like to remember to look for the helpers, the people who do good things or help in a bad situation. I believe that in every situation there are helpers. All throughout time, in every situation in history, there have always been helpers. I have a book today called Most People. This book is by Michael Liana and has some great pictures by Jennifer Morris. I got this book from my library and I thought it was really special that there was a sticker in the front of the book that said this book was a gift from someone named Emily who paid for books at my library focusing on anti-bullying and alopecia awareness for her Girl Scout Gold Star project. It sounds to me like this book about helpers was given to the library by a helper named Emily. Most people love to smile. Most people love to laugh. Most people love to see other people smile and laugh too. Most people are good people. Most people want to help when they see someone crying. Most people want to help when they see someone who is in trouble. Most people want to make other people, even strangers, feel good. Most people are very good people. Some people do bad things. They yell bad words, they lie and steal, they bully and hurt and destroy. But most people don't do those things. If you could line up all the people who want to be good and all the people who want to be bad, the good people would line up from here to the tallest mountain. All the people in the bad line could crowd together in a dark and gloomy room. People who do bad things can change. There is a seed of goodness inside them waiting to sprout. Most people love the sunshine. Most people love the earth. Most people love watching things grow. A person who is frowning and mad or sad or mean is like a sour grape in a bunch of sweet grapes. That person would almost always rather be happy and smiling and laughing. Everyone looks nicer when they smile and laugh. When you see something bad happening, you may soon see someone trying to help. The helper might be you. Someone is always there being good because being good is what most people do. Most people like to run and dance and play, or share stories with someone they know, or snuggle with someone they love. Most people like a kind word. Most people like thinking good thoughts about others. Most people smile when they see a baby. Most people glow when they hear or say, "I love you." Most people in the world know that most people are very good.
Where to begin? We're all horrified. I'll tell you now that I don't have some new and creative take on gun violence that will make this easier. I hope that's not an expectation that any of you have, because part of the horror is the repetition. We ministers often have, but what I can tell you about my own experience with gun violence would only increase your secondary trauma in this moment. Telling you the specifics about hearing the screams of families would give you no further insight. What I will say is that I once worked at a level 1 trauma center in North Philadelphia, and I long ago came to terms with the fact that when it comes to guns, America does not want to change. The political will to take away enough of the guns to ensure that worse than this will not happen again is not there. To do that, we would need a majority of willing votes in the House of Representatives, 60 willing votes in the Senate, a majority of the Supreme Court, and the presidency. Or 50 state legislatures and 50 governors and the Supreme Court. We don't have most and possibly any of those things. It's actually fairly straightforward how political change happens in a democracy, which we still nominally have. It's just levers of power, specific numbers of people willing to take specific actions, and we do not have them. Will well-meaning people who think something should be done do more than post that thought on social media? Will they do the hard work of changing that situation? Learn about how power works, develop a strategy, devote their free time to making it happen. Not just a donation or a single march, making a few calls to senators, though that is the least we can do. Honestly, I think it would take a miracle. I won't give up on the possibility of miracles. This is not the time to live in if you don't believe in miracles. But I do suspect that white supremacy has not finished with us. Guns are part of how that will play out in this country built on blood. This was initially planned as a Memorial Day service, and it's always hard to balance a real recognition of the great loss and great sacrifices of our soldiers on Memorial Day with an understanding that so many of the wars those soldiers were sent to fight were wars of genocide and imperialism. Soldiers have fought with tremendous courage and with the best of intentions, and so often they have done terrible harm. America began with the doctrine of discovery, which stated that land could be stolen through any means and any brutality, so long as that land did not belong to Christians. And the resulting genocide of tens of millions of people is the basis of everything we have and everything we have become. Militarism, racism, and violence are the air we breathe. Most of the soldiers we have lost were complicated victims and enforcers of this worldview. We mourn them, and we mourn their victims. The doctrine of discovery also served to justify slavery. And one of the reasons access to guns was so important in the beginnings of our country was the fact that they ensured the suppression of slave rebellions. The power that guns hold over our lives is inextricably linked to the greed and racism and patriarchal rage that are so core to the sickness we continue to suffer from. I could tell you stories about the horror I saw in Philadelphia. The violence and our complicity with it is so well hidden from so many people. Sometimes I have thought that if more people only knew, or if the right people only knew, things would change. And maybe that's true. But I think maybe some other stories matter more today. I don't work in the hospital anymore. Now I work in hospice. And the volunteers. When my father was dying, our kind neighbor was there with us, and she knew how to be because she was a hospice volunteer. It meant so much to us that she was with us. There are volunteers who read out loud, volunteers who bring dogs to visit, and even one who plays concert violin when people are at the end of life. The music is so sublime. How does such a beautiful thing even exist in the world? I met one volunteer recently who was there sitting with AIDS patients back in the 80s. back when there was such stigma, back when no one knew how it spread. The courage. There are beautiful people in the world doing incredible things every day, everywhere. And in times like this, what they do takes on meaning that is so much bigger than their small acts of kindness. They give us hope. I don't mean to say that the fact that there is kindness in this world means that everything will be okay, or we can look away from the hard truths of this situation. But when people choose to do good, they remind us that we also have a choice. I know it's a stretch in church, but imagine with me for a moment that we humans are here for some greater purpose. That is, to grow and more fully embody our potential to love. In that case, the measure of success in our task isn't how many challenges we faced, how hard it was, or whether we won this or that political battle. The measure of success is only whether we kept going. The only way to lose in that scenario is to give up. We don't control the outcome of our actions. We don't control the world, but we do control ourselves. We decide how we will respond to the world. We decide whether in an ocean of suffering we simply despair or retreat into self-centered affirmations of how good and right we are, or offer love. Will we be another cog in the machine? Just more evidence that no one cares? Or will we use our time helping others? Will we make use of the power we have? My gratitude to those hospice workers has given me strength and faith in humanity, and reminded me that there is beauty in this world. That is why these shootings are so painful in the first place. The wonder of being alive, the sheer cosmic improbability of each life, the miracle and condensed joy of the most mundane, irritating, relentless moments of parenthood. The miracle of loving each other each day. It would take a miracle for America to change, but there are miracles all around. Impermanence is one of those parts of life that we often forget. There are so many aspects to it, and we don't like some of them. Death being the big one. Impermanence also means that things can always change. In fact, one of the few things we can be sure of in the long run is that this system where money matters more than children will change. It's unsustainable. There are so many things that contribute to it, and therefore so many ways it can change. You've been handed the incredible, rare, miraculous gift of life in a world that deeply needs people who can recognize that sacred gift. Weapons company executives and the politicians who take their money don't, and I pity them. What a bleak world they inhabit. We don't have to join them in that world. It hurts to have the capacity to recognize the preciousness and beauty of life, but I'll take it. I choose to be fully alive. What will you do? with this miraculous gift. In these times of despair, will people think of you as I do our hospice volunteers and remember that there is goodness in the world? Or will you increase their cynicism, remind them of how selfish we humans can be? What power you have to answer that question every day. What a miracle. Miracles happen all the time.
As the Reverend Brandy Lovely used to say, let there be an offering to sustain and strengthen this place which is sacred to so many, a community of memory and of hope, for we are now the keepers of the dream. As you can see on the screen, there are many ways to give your gift to UUCSS. If you're here in person, you can place your offering in one of the offering plates as it's passed around during the music that will begin in just a moment. May our hearts grow as we practice generosity together and as we help keep the dream of a better world alive. The offering will now be given and received with gratitude.
Give me doubts so I can see my neighbor as myself. Give me doubts so I can lay all my weapons on the ground. When the armor of God is too heavy for peace, give me doubt. Give me doubt. Give me doubt so I can see my neighbor as myself. Give me doubt so I can lay all my weapons on the ground. When the armor of God is too heavy for peace, give me doubt. Give me doubt. Give me doubt. What be my courage now? My shield from evil. Love be my courage now. I will not fear.
Our church is not only the organization that puts together these services, we are a vibrant community of volunteers and staff a member of the Unitarian Universalist Association, and a part of the global UU denomination. Today we have 3 announcements. First, I've got an update about the Catoctin Mountain Trip. This is a 50-year beloved tradition here at UUCSS and is an opportunity to create fun community in a beautiful setting with our church friends. We will cook, hike, play sports and board games, to do improv theater and make music, have casual worship services, and clean up together. This year's trip is scheduled for September 23rd to 25th. As you may have heard, we're doing things a little differently this year. We will be staying in heated dorms. Wow. And we are collecting commitments from people who plan to spend at least one night and stay through cleanup on Sunday. At this point, we have commitments from 30 people, so we are halfway there. If we don't get commitments from at least 60 people, 9th grade and older, we will have to cancel. To sign up, please use the link in the all-church email. If you have any questions, please contact Chris Lindsley, whose information is included in both the all-church email and the church directory. Announcement number 2. Reverend Laura is recruiting volunteers for next year's RE program. There are many ways to volunteer for commitments of all sizes. Best of all, when you volunteer today, you will be entered into a drawing for a Zinnia's gift card. I don't know what that is. Oh, okay. Let Reverend Laura know if you're interested in volunteering. And number 3, don't forget about the next 2 Sundays. June 5th is the last day of RE and Appreciation Sunday, when we take stock of all we've been and done together as a community this year. Our annual business meeting, where new board members will be elected and the budget for next year approved, will happen immediately after that service. While everyone is invited to come to the meeting, only members may vote. And the next Sunday here, June 12th, is a service for people of all ages and our annual flower communion. Right after that, we'll have a big party outside, complete with burgers, hot dogs, all the fixings, and potluck desserts to celebrate our shared ministry. Our closing hymn, number 318, We Would Be One.
We would be one, as now we join in singing our hymn of love, to pledge ourselves anew to that high cause of greater understanding of who we are and what in us is true. We would be one in living for each other, to show to all a new community. We would be one in building for tomorrow another world than we have known today. We would be one in building for the meaning which binds our hearts and points us on our way. As one we pledge ourselves to greater service, with love and justice strive to make
Join me in the words of chalice extinguishing. Carry the flame of peace and love until we meet again. May you have the courage only love can give. Our worship is ended, and now our service begins.
Find the cost of freedom buried in the ground. Mother Earth will swallow you. Lay your body down. Find the cost of freedom buried in the ground. Mother Earth will swallow you. Lay your body ground.